In this video, we're going to explore the end conditions for both extrude as well as extruded cut. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead to Features and go to Extruded Base or Boss. Now it's going to ask me to draw a sketch, so I'm going to choose this surface here, and I'm going to create a circle. So I'm just going to draw an arbitrary circle up here at the top, and click OK. When I exit out of that, automatically it's going to put me into the Extrude command, and you can see if I click on Blind, it's just going to give me a value of 50 millimeters. Now I can flip that around to go the other direction as well. You can see I can stick through that material. If I increase it here to maybe 100, you can see it's going to stick through the material, and click OK. It's just going to blindly extrude that feature, whatever value I give it. Now if I go back to that same feature, and instead of blind, this time I choose through all, it's going to extend that boss feature through the entire part. All right, go back over here to edit feature again. Through all up to vertex, now it's going to ask me to choose a vertex. So I can choose any vertex here, so maybe this point right there. And you can see it extends it all the way up to where that point is right in the corner. Back again to that feature. And instead of up to vertex, I'm going to say up to surface. Well, I have to choose a surface, and I already have this blue surface here predefined. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that surface and choose a direction and click OK. Let's take a look at why that's not the case. Now notice it says this surface does not fully define that end condition, so we need to go back and adjust one of these things. So you can see my surface here doesn't go all the way to the top, so we need to go back and fix that. So let's go back here to my surface extend that I used, and I'm going to adjust the height of it, not the sketch, but actually the surface itself. And instead of sticking up 50, let's click on 100. Okay, now it's a little bit taller. And now we can go back to this feature here, which is Boss Extrude 3. And go ahead and choose up to surface. Choose that surface. Oh, hold on. Up to surface. Choose the surface itself, and you can see what happens there. And then click on OK. So now that's my new feature up to that surface. And if you want to, you can go back and hide that surface. And you can see my end condition is up to that surface. All right, a little further on here, my feature here, I can come up to an offset from surface. So I already had that surface selected. Now if I want to just move that a few millimeters away, let's say 2 millimeters from that surface, now it pushes it back just a little bit. Let's go back and show that surface. And you can see we've got a little bit of a gap between the two. Back to Boss Extrude again, and instead of offset from surface up to body, I happen to have an extra body here, which is body number 2. I'm going to say I'm up to that body, click OK. Unfortunately, that body is not in the way of this feature, so that's one of the requirements for up to body, is it actually has to have a surface of that body that it can be attached to. So again, to fix this, let's go back and adjust where this body is located at. So in this case here, I'm going to click on this body here, which is where it was. Take that, delete a couple of these values. So I'm going to change this one here. I'm going to change this one here. And then I'm going to grab this feature or that sketch, and I'm going to move it down here to the end of this part. Once it's there, click on OK. Now it's at the end, and hopefully that's directly behind the other feature. And then try it again. So go up here, up to body, choose that body, click on OK, and it automatically updates. Now if I go back here to that sketch again, and I move this value, or just move this sketch around, make it a little further away, it'll automatically update again up to that body. So again, real powerful there. And then same thing for the very last one here, back to end conditions. The last one's mid-plane. That just allows me to extrude, just like a regular boss extrude, blindly extrude both directions. And there it is. All right, now I can do exactly the same thing with a cut extrude. So over here, I'm going to again draw a new circle or new shape. Let's try a rectangle this time, actually. Here's my rectangle, and I'm going to say features, extruded cut. And I have all the same options. So up to or through all both, up to next, up to vertex, up to surface. So through all, obviously it's going to cut a hole through everything. If I go through all both, it's going to cut in both directions here. There's nothing on that side of the sketch, so it's not going to really do anything with through all both, but it's very handy. Up to next is the next feature it's going to see. So I'm going to turn direction 2 off right now. And that's just going to be that next surface here. So it's going to be a hole directly through the part, but only that next surface. Let's go back down to that cut extrude. And instead of up to next, let's say up to vertex. So same thing, I can choose a point. It's going to bring it all the way up to that point. If I choose up to surface, again, I can do it something like that. Click OK. And you can see there it cuts it all the way up to where that surface was. And we're going to use that surface as really just a helper surface for this type of condition. Back to edit feature. Offset from surface, same thing. It's just going to give it a little distance either on one side or the other. So, and I can flip that offset. So I can say one side or the other. And let's type in 3 millimeters. Let's get a preview of that, seeing what it's going to look like here. So we have a little gap on this side. If I reverse the offset, it's going to put it on the other side. So I'm going to cut a little bit past that surface. All right, and then finally here, the last one to look at here is up to body, which we've already done, and then midplane. So up to body, again, I'm going to cut up to this body here, or up to a surface. So I can choose a body, select where I want to cut up to. That works. Or if I go up to surface, I don't have to actually choose a real surface here. I can actually just choose a surface of my part itself, or on this side here. Click OK. And that's going to bring it all the way up to that surface. So anyways, that's a bunch of different ways to end your features in Boss Extrude as well as Boss Cut. And it also works similar for some of the other commands inside of SolidWorks. You're going to be using a lot of this stuff on the exam, so make sure you know and understand how to use a lot of these different end conditions to make your design process that much easier.